gamers, welcome back to Red Steel Gaming Presents. So we've been having a lot of fun lately with introducing you to our community leads. We've been playing some board games, but it's back to a little bit of news because we've been out of the loop, and we try to do a new show about once a month, so we're going to call this episode the Monthly Gaming News.
Monthly Gaming News. A lot has happened.
So in the end, we definitely need that.
You need the old black and white, like the radio tower on the black and white planet.
Breaking news. Breaking news that's a month old.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, I'm Dan. I'm the owner of Red Steel Gaming, a local store in Mattawan, New Jersey. I'm here with my buddy Sal.
Yes. Greetings.
And my buddy Christopher.
Hello, guys.
We'd like to discuss games. We'd like to talk about what we do at our store. And this is an episode where we're going to talk about what's been going on in gaming for the past month, because it's been a couple weeks.
What excites our molecules? That's why I look at that. Like,
what makes your molecules vibrate?
Yeah. Everything in my book has agitated my molecules to the point of combustion.
He's pent up.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of info, and he's got a purge.
I am ascended because I've brought Horus with me. I have ascended.
There's way too much chaos at this table today.
Dripping.
Chaos. I will be bringing Rabu next week.
Yeah.
If you're gonna keep doing
Come on down. As soon as Fulgrim comes, they're gonna kiss and make up.
Kiss and make up
at the end of my sword.
At the end of my sword. Let's. You gonna apologize for ripping my throat out?
No, you think Fulgrim's apologizing? That guy's bad shit. Go ahead.
He's a little angry.
Yeah. Nice.
All right. So
His
real quick, what's
hubris?
Let's quickly recap. So it was just recently in May the 4th.
Yes, we just had our May 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. Revenge of the 5th and all that, because we're past all that.
The Revenge of the 5th, and then always a Revenge of the 6th. Because it's the 6th and Sith, right? Is that how it is?
No, the 5th, 6th.
6th?
I don't know. There's so many of them. They go up to like 11
Let's
now.
just keep it May the 4th, people, okay?
Yeah.
You don't need more than one day.
No, but we did.
The 5th is called Cinco de Mayo. All right, let's be honest with each other.
Yeah, they fight.
May the 4th, and then Cinco de Mayo. Okay,
we held a series of events at Red Steel for May the 4th. We had some Star Wars Unlimited play, we had some Armada play, and some other stuff.
We did Aces High. We had a bunch of our community leads. We had a community leads for Shatterpoint and X-Wing. We did an Aces High table where, if you're not familiar with Aces High, everybody gets, instead of flying 2 squadrons against each other, it's a multiplayer format. Everybody gets a single ship. And you pretty much dogfight it out. And the first person that kind of does a scoring method, and the first person that gets 6 points wins. Super fun because you just got to worry about one ship. So yeah, we did that. We ran a Outer Rim board game. We had that set up, and we had a bunch of people sinking their teeth into that. And
the Rim.
And I think a lot of people enjoyed. We call it Outer Mint because
Outer Mint.
I spent a mince fortune on my version.
Well, we didn't play the Outer Mint. We played Outer Rim.
We played copy.
Store copy, generic cardboard.
I'm not going to lie. I did not want to bring Outer Mint and everybody touching my mintness.
Outer Mint is, we basically gave it the same treatment we gave the Waterdeep box.
Yes. White gloves.
Yeah.
White
$50 game that we turned into a $300 game.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was white.
But just like Waterdeep, well worth it.
Well worth it.
Yes. Yeah, so we had our buddy Graham ran the Legion. He brought a bunch of different squads for people to try out the new Legion kind of rehash rules, and not a whole lot's changed, but enough. And he had he had all painted, he had all terrain. His table was always great. They had a
Graham goes ham.
Graham goes ham. That's a shirt. We'll be selling those.
We're gonna be selling that. Graham goes ham. He goes nuts. That terrain he's got is just bar none the best we have in the store.
And he's got these neoprene runners that sit on his side. One's red, one's blue, and they have all the spots for the unit cards and the upgrades, and it's just like OCD heaven, like a piece of slice of heaven. But they had large Armada tables we're playing. We
had an entire SWU event.
And we had Store Showdown.
We had about some Stores Showdown promos to give out, so we ended up doing a small SWU event, which actually was really well attended.
What was the final table decks?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know the answer to.
All right, we're going to get back to that. We're going to flash them on. But yeah, I think one was Sabine. So I was complaining Sabine again, but it was good.
Oh, yeah, no, I do know it. It was Sabine Green, Sabine ECL, and it was Kira Green. Okay. Was the end table.
Yeah, so it was a Star Wars celebration of Titanic proportions. And everybody had fun, really good time. And till next year, I mean, like at that point, it's one of the days to like compound Star Wars. It's,
Hopefully someday we have a first contact day for those people that like Star Trek.
We need more Star Trek. I mean, I guess you could.
There's a lot of Star Trek games.
There is a lot of Star Trek.
And Universal Studios now has the whole thing going on with Trek. So,
but you'd have to have sleeping bags for the Game of Ascendancy to go till tomorrow because like we'd be there.
Well, it'll be a whole weekend. You guys talk about the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th. Yeah. We can have 2 days, right?
I mean, no, we could do a Star Wars week. Don't get me wrong, but yeah. Anyway, so May the 4th, super fun. Keep an eye out for a next Star Wars event. But yeah, what else in news? I mean, GW when GW in a month, the amount of news that comes out from GW is ridiculous.
When you compare it to any other game, yeah.
Yeah,
GW
just because it's
pretty much weekly.
Yeah, is every day the GW community site has an article, so it's either something relevant, new, or just about what's coming out, or vice versa. So like, pretty much, all right, what's come out? So after Adepticon, we finally had the Death Rattle box came out for Age of Sigmar. All skeletons. Chris actually built his very quickly. And we got into discussion about how busted the spearhead is for this new spearhead for that particular box is, haven't played it yet, haven't played against it yet.
I'm not going to mention any names, but, FaZe and I might have been playing a game of Flesh and Blood, and somebody was also in the studio at the same time, losing their mind.
Yeah, if we had that
over
audio.
We do have that audio. It won't be played.
I'm going to interrupt here briefly and just say, bullshit.
Yeah, I don't want to say that spearhead has inadvertently caused Dan to quit 2 different factions and start a new one. Well, not a new one, but bring back an old faction.
Now I know why Sigmar's pissed. Okay, and Sigmar's pissed enough that he has recruited me to burn and cleanse the heretics.
Okay,
bring it. All right, because that shit's broke. Yeah, I'm telling you right now. If you haven't seen it already, you can go. It's free, right? It's download. You can download the.
I think you know what? I went looking for it. It might only be in. All right. So
the book is.
As soon as the official Soul Blight book comes out, we're in that phase when we're recording this. We got the initial launch box, which is just a set new bunch, all the new miniatures. You got the limited edition cover, and then there's like this weird period, and they just announced that the main release is coming when the red book or the red cover comes out. That's when they tend to post the points online. You kind of get your app gets the update there. It's a weird. But it's been so long in between these two that people have been like, once again, we're going to get into like stories and theories about GW woes of like why, things have these weird spacing in between. But yeah, you'll be able to see it soon. You'll understand why when you look at it from a Spearhead point of view. If you played any Spearhead, why Dan has lost his proverbial stuff.
Bullshit.
And if you're interested now, you could always buy the Death Rattle box. It's still on the shelf at
It's
RSG.
still there, and it's annoying. It's gonna be annoying, but it brings up
the models are really, really cool. Like the new model, it's the Death Wraith on the horse. He is phenomenal.
Yes, Barrow Knights. Those guys are. That's the rule that broke Dan, but we won't.
They're on the Warcom community site. If you want to go and just say the word bullshit 10 times after looking at it, let me know. Please. Write bullshit in the comments when you see the bullshit that the Barrow Knights are.
So just to bring up the fact that they're Death Rattle, so like, kind of like, has been a trend recently through GW has all these new releases have bringing in sub-factions. So like Death Rattle, there's an existing Soulblight's Gravelord repertoire of miniatures, but Death Rattle is just the skeleton part of the whites.
Just the bones.
The bones.
Look at the bones.
Everything dusty, as they say. But so it's interesting that GW has been lately, all these new releases have been focused around sub-factions. And some of them are good. Some of them don't work in their armies or sucks proverbially from the people in the greater community that play them often. So it's weird. We have Death Rattle. We got Git Mob with the Gloomspite Gits, which is, hey, Gloomspite worries about the moon. And these guys are run away from the sun. And there's an internal weirdness to that. Dark Oath back in the day was, just an addendum kind of addition to right before the edition changed, and you got Dark Oath, and they internally do not work. Like, no one plays Dark Oath. They are not
just barbarians. They're like half-naked barbarians.
And they're worse than Cities of Sigmar in the sense that, like, they're just not a functioning army in themselves.
There's not enough cohesion there for them to work.
And the Croneseer, they brought out elves that aren't down with Marathi, and they're following this new Crone. So like each of these are now a sub-faction inside of...
Other than the broken unit that they have in this, I think this is viable.
Oh yeah, everything's straight on.
It's playable.
Yeah, playable.
It's definitely playable. It looks effective. I would dare I say overly effective. And I always like to describe undead as two things, either a dry or wet.
It's moist.
It's or dry. You have your dry undead, which these guys have been dead a while, so they dry out.
These are definitely the dry.
And then you have the wet undead, which are like the zombies and the vampires.
And when you look at their trend, which is like part of this too, is like zombies were broken in 3rd edition. You could ask FaZe. FaZe brought 30 of them, and they would never leave the board. And every time they died, you had a chance to roll for mortals. So
and there was a 4+, it was 50-50.
It was either 4 or 5. It was hard. Either way, you're rolling, and there's 30 of them. That means, and then he'd bring them back, and they just roll again when they die. But now no one's talking about that. It's like, oh, the focus is on the dry undead. So it's kind of like, and that's what's new, but zombies are still there, but it just seems like they're trying to get your attention with a new sub-faction, get you to buy the new sub-faction. But I don't know if they work as only a sub-faction. Are you still just going to play them as a mix and match? And
Well, the push has really been Spearhead too lately.
yes, and
So,
they're their
and-
own
and,
Spearhead.
and
so.
that's why I think the sub-faction thing is
It's
it's
more-
mainly
it's more fun.
coming from a point of view like Spearhead and onboarding,
Yes.
which we love. I mean,
It's good for
we all
us.
love Spearhead.
It's what we right now is our time frame. What we have to play. Spearhead fits it perfectly. Do I
I've-
want to move to the big game? Sure, but
Yeah. Of the Sigmar I've been playing, it's been Spearhead. And
Yeah.
I've played 5 factions now, I think, in Spearhead.
yeah. I mean, leading up to our event, was like just research, build, put this on the table, try this one. So it's there. But with all the ideas of sub factions, is there any kind of like if you had an idea of a faction that you like that would be a funny or an interesting sub faction, which would kind of I can go first. I would think so for me a weird sub faction would be in like Idneth Deepkin. If you brought like they're the elves that like escaped from Slaaneish's gullet and supposed to be this new race that I think Tyrion or what's his brother's name?
Tyrion and
Brain damage.
oh my
But-
goodness, it's a little bit old world.
The whole idea was
Teclis.
Teclis was trying to like let's take the souls out and bring back our elves, and they just weren't right because they were in Slaaneish's stomach and they ran off into the deep parts of the undersea. It'd be really cool if you had a bunch of elves that are like have like kind of like if anyone's seen Aquaman, the Trench, they were like normal elves or people, and they've kind of veered off
Devolved.
into a bestial kind of almost like the deep ones in Cthulhu, like you have like
Sahuagin.
Sahugin and like
in
or
D&D.
they were elves, but they've gone into like that kind of almost like Fishman. Let's go Fishman because that's an old trope in the old days.
Fishman.
It'd be really cool to see like an offshoot of them where they're barely even resembling elves anymore. So that'd be kind of cool. But any thoughts?
You got a sub faction, Chris? You want to say?
So I'm gonna. This is something that GW would never do, but I'm a huge fan of the Universal monsters and like Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon. I would love to see Soul Blight like epic hero models. Like give me this is the Frankenstein that is basically a 2-ton unit all by himself.
Like a big
Oh, okay.
golem.
Big-
Like,
yeah,
the
like
big Riblies.
a gigantic golem. Give me your trench elf and
Yeah.
make him my Creature from the Black Lagoon. Let me put this is the Monster Squad is one of the best movies of the 80s and 90s ever.
Monster Squad.
When you put all of them together, Abbott and Costello put Dracula and all them. We already have our Dracula-esque, vampires, but give me some of those other ones that I can throw in there. Like give me a Night Haunt that's really just the Invisible Man.
Okay.
And then give me an Osiarch that's really just the Mummy. And then let me put all 5 of them on the board together as like these cornerstone with a bunch of zombies or skeletons in front of them.
like an army of renown. You
Maybe
could do that.
maybe how about a unit that was similar to the unit they gave Cities of Sigmar, where there was like a bunch of heroes that they all had like an ability.
Yeah. Or what about like a Warcry? Give me a Warcry pack that is the 5 universal monsters that could be in my army.
If I remember, in Underworlds, there was a Underworld warband where it was like a necromancer, but he was using like electrical volt technology. Like all the zombies had little attachments and pinions in their neck, so like they were
That's how we controlled them. yeah.
arc volting and like almost like a Frankenstein. That'd be cool, like golems, and like you just have like a menagerie of horror, like that's just outside of the realm.
And you have think of the modeling for that. Think of like I'm the necromancer who's bringing these things up by electricity, and it's a dwarf model that I've gotten from this kid, or it's a Skaven model I've gotten from this kid. or it's a-
Abomination.
Yes,
Abomination.
picture that big, like a big humanoid abomination stitched mega, like on a giant base.
Like take some of those crazy Skaven models that look like they're stitched together like a Frankenstein, and just go crank it up to 12.
like a human side, though. It's a human way of
Yeah.
like this is our
Yeah,
way
I guess
of
the
stitching.
closest thing they did to that was in the Osiarch Bone Reapers army. They had that construct.
Yeah, it's just all kinds of
Just
bones.
like,
Yeah.
and
when you-
the bone, the
Processing
the
bone,
bone
like
tithe collector,
yeah,
what it has
yeah.
his name?
when you put those bones on there, you're like, this is a femur bone from something else.
Something
I don't know
else.
where it
Yeah,
goes.
this is not
Yeah.
his.
But I mean, moving on from GW news. Wait.
What about his?
Oh, damn, what's yours?
I don't like to say it.
I think I know.
It's not going to happen. That's why I don't like to say it.
Well,
know
mine's
what?
not happening either. So
You
it's
know
all
what though? It would be the only thing that would reverse course Dan from Stormcast. I know that for sure.
Absolutely. And that's to bring my Duradin out of Cities of Sigmar and give it a sub-faction similar to... look at Fire Slayers. How many... first of all, the whole army looks the same.
Yes,
There's, 6 units in Fire Slayers?
they have.
Not counting heroes.
They have one of the lower model
Model
counts
counts.
of all ranges, I think.
Chris will be happy about this. I think there's only 16 selections for Fire Slayers in the entire
Maybe
army.
even less. Dude,
in the entire army
there's
list.
two in one box.
It's only 15.
Because 5 of them are heroes.
Yeah.
Or like priests or whatever. But it looks like they're probably, I mean, the way the lore is going, there's some grumblings that the humans aren't happy that the dwarves are sharing this city.
Yeah, I
so
mean,
it sounds like they're trying to already make them outcasts.
Of the 3 of ours, I would think that one's the most plausible because of the divorce between Specialist Studios and they want to get those dwarf miniatures and the elf miniatures out and get them into the old world. I could see that happening, or there's the rumors from all the influencers that are in the know that more so than us by chance, but that Fire Slayers aren't getting a book this edition.
Summer.
And that they're either going to, I can't see how they would go away, that they would bring another aspect in Fire Slayers and another faction, like a Dispossessed Reborn, would be a single book.
There was a rumor that Fire Slayers might get infantry.
Cavalry.
Cavalry. I'm sorry,
yes.
cavalry. Like,
on
like
those little magma
like,
droths.
Make a medium-sized magma droth. That'd be pretty dope. That'd be pretty. Chris loves the magma droth.
But if you
talk about bullshit,
but like if you it's feasible, and I think that's the most plausible.
I just would love. I know the reason. I think the reason it's not going to happen is because the dwarves that I played for so many years were basically half artillery, half infantry, and that just does not work in the grand scheme of. The closest thing we got to it was the Caradron, but they're airships. And the guns aren't super effective. They basically turn them into like a shooting unit.
Yeah. I mean, I think the artillery of old, like what it used to do.
No, that's in the old
Now
world.
it's just a shooting. In AOS, those are just shooting units. So I still think you could have a dispossessed shooting unit. Because they wouldn't be dispossessed anymore. They'd be
I would love a
reimagining.
But give me a reimagining and give me bigger models.
Yeah.
Dwarves don't. I mean, why are Skaven bigger than dwarves?
Yeah, and replace the idea of well, I think a Fire Slayer is bigger than a Clan Rat for sure, but like
but the Duradin aren't as big as Fire Slayers.
I think there's a place where they just give you pretty much replace the hammers and the Ironbreaker kind of idea, but infuse it with
something. A new rule set, bigger models. Give me Dwarven Cavalry. Yeah. Give me dwarves on rams.
I mean, I don't want to say the cast dwarves are going to come before this, but they probably are. So I do apologize.
They are going to come.
But there'll be more if they squash Fire Slayers, because there's other rumor that they can't have more Elven factions and then they can't make more Dwarven factions than Elven factions.
Yeah,
so the idea that they would condense Fire Slayers and Dispossessed into like a Fire Lodge that was all about not just the Fire Runes, but also everything that the Forge encompasses, like what a dwarf would be. You could meld. Caradron are just too greedy and too piratical as a thematic. So we'll see. Hey, you know what? Fingers crossed. I know I'm getting cast dwarves first, but I'm not going to say nothing. So moving on, in the whole month of GW, they love putting out Necromunda models that have just 2 single dudes. Like, hey, we're a ferryman. There's a ferryman across the sump. We're the water broker. We're the corpse broker. Like all these weird, I know in game they're usable models, but it's such a weird release when that weekend or that week comes up and I see these miniatures and it's just like 2 guys and I'm like, these look like role-playing miniatures. Like it always makes me think, GW was never making a Necromunda role-playing game with miniatures, but I'm like, these are all personality miniatures.
Well, what about the idea where, we have a lot of role players in the store that never have any interest in GW. Perhaps they are role playing something, and that model looks perfect.
It just gets them.
And now they go online. I'm looking for ferryman model, and GW automatically pops up. And just like I think your story was, you bought GW models to play D&D, and then you found, well, what do we use these models for? And you started to play GW as opposed to D&D.
I want to play that game.
Maybe these Necromunda releases are that, or maybe they're just fillers. Because we said that GW likes to do releases every week.
And there's not enough.
Except for one. But sometimes there's just not enough time to sculpt, not enough time to produce, not enough time to ship. So maybe these Necromunda models are those weeks, those off weeks.
Let's put something out.
Where we have to put something out. Let's put something on the website. Let's keep the eyes on us.
Makes sense. I mean, they're great models, and when you look at them, you obviously their sculpting is just beyond. But it's just, I'm not a Necromunda player. We haven't played Necromunda since the OG, but seeing the models, I'm like, these all have personality and they're amazing. So what else? All right, then. 40K is its own animal. I mean, we got the full Emperor's Children release, and then
even though we got shorted a little bit, as well did other stores.
For what you got, that's ridiculous.
Well, we ordered I don't know how many. I think we ordered like a dozen of everything, and we got half.
Yeah, and
of
it's
what
all
we
and
ordered,
it
which is unusual. It hasn't been that bad. This release was bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was just short print or high demand or both.
You
Could
don't
be both.
You don't know, and it's there's not many. I mean, with people's biggest complaints online, and people do like to complain, but I kind of get this where this is supposed to be. When GDO touts things and they don't come through on the tout, it's kind of like, why tout? You know, like this is the year of chaos in their brain. Next year, they said it last year, this is the year of chaos. If Emperor's Children is the year that is what is chaos for, it's not really that many. It's not that many models. Like in a range, they're super small. It's 4 kits with Fulgrim in the end, and like that happened with World Eaters, and World Eaters was at the end of the last edition. And they're getting 1 model. So where's that like influx for the Year of Chaos? Or even most of the other new releases of World Eaters, Death Guard, and Thousand Suns, they're getting 1 small thing or 1 small unit. And it's a weird, if you're those players, you're probably pissed. But the Emperor's Children stuff, because it's all brand new and it's pretty much bringing a new faction to the forefront, I guess that's the Year of Chaos, and we'll take it for what it is. But the models are great. That's fully finally available, more or less. But it's once again sold out at the very moment.
We're not halfway through the year yet, so you still got
True.
6 more months.
True. But then we got the on the splash end of that. If you are a Space Marine fan, you got your taste because Space Wolves came out.
Wow.
And this is post Adepticon. So what they released after Adepticon, we got to see
More kits.
Yeah, I mean a lot of them. The aesthetic's cool. Space Vikings. Big shields, round shields. I think is a very cool aesthetic with all the runes and stuff.
I've only ever bought and played one 40K army, and it was Space Wolves.
Yes.
I mean, there's
Because
so much
Space
coming.
Vikings are too cool.
Yes.
So when you look at an army that's getting 4 kits and a new kit, and then you look at a full refresh range of like you're talking almost 12 to 14 kits. I mean, heroes fall into that kit. When you say kit, it could also be hero, but there's a lot coming out. And then you're a Grey Knight player. You want to play Grey Knights, and they get a new baby carrier.
Yeah.
So and
a couple new weapons.
So they're coming. It's just once again GW's release schedule. You might not be alive when it comes out. Like that's a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like
I hate to complain. I do, especially when I've seen the size of a complete Space Wolf revamp. Space Wolves are probably of the loyal legions. They're probably the most popular, maybe the second most popular.
And they're unique in the sense that they're like, they're like the bad boys.
You could say
we're rough and feral.
The Smurfs are the good guys, probably the most popular. They are the poster boys. Ultramarines are the poster boys for Space Marine. I mean, Titus is an Ultramarine. Sorry to tell you guys. But the truth is...
But they get access to everything. That's what they get.
They're jack of all trades. But Space Wolves are probably, if not the most popular, the second most popular loyal legion from the current storyline.
I think Blood Angels falls into that same problem. It's like super hyper specialized, fast tag.
But now that I've seen that it's not just 3 new units they're getting, I don't know, it's like 15 new kits.
Yeah, I mean
that's a major.
They said
it might be the biggest revamp I've seen them do in one go.
I can't when you think of like the last. I mean, aside from the Primaris push.
Yeah.
This is a big release for and I get it must be because it sells. Like there must be that financial thing. It's like, hey, look, the other Chaos faction's cool,
but like one faction, and they're getting specific models. In the past, you get like when Primaris was done, Primaris got it was generic Marines, and then you can paint them as Black Templars, you can paint them as whatever. But these are Space Wolf models.
Yeah, and they've done more of that. There's less kits to like add on to your miniatures, and they're more molded for. In the end, it must be sales, but then you would think that sales and Chaos, they pulled all the available units for the specialty legions, World Eater, Death Guard. They got rid of Predators. They got rid of Vindicators. They cut half. Emperor's Children can't get any of that stuff. People have Predators painted in Emperor's Children colors, and when they got the Codex, sorry, you can't. There's no more Predators in your army. There's no more Vindicators. There's no more Hellbrutes. There's no more Cultists. So like, if it was about sales, why wouldn't you just leave them in there? And like, GW is not known for balancing their rules right away. They'll get to it, and Chaos Space Marines can do it. It's just maybe those rules would break those things, and I get that aspect too. So maybe they left them out. But I think these Space Wolves miniatures are going to be bonkers for them. I mean, and it's a good thing in the end. But yeah, if you haven't seen Space Wolves miniatures, please go do. I mean, there's that
Unbelievable.
I would think he's the first Primarch to come back. What's his name? The Space Wolves.
Oh, Space Wolves. Russ?
Yeah, Lehman Russ. I would think he's the first loyalist new Primarch in 40K. I would think he's coming back at some point.
Well, they've been bringing them all
I mean,
back,
they
so
think with this full refresh range, if you capped it with a cherry on top and brought out a Lehman
he
Russ,
has to be. He has to be coming. They've been bringing
see what happens to him.
They've been bringing everybody. They have to bring somebody. And if Fulgrim's back, Rabu needs some help.
Yeah, and they need a prime. Everybody else is also.
And
this
the way they primed this was a box set that's going to be Ultramarines and I was going to be Grey Knights and Space Wolves together.
Yes,
fighting against.
They were the kind of It was the Emperor's Children was a part of that whole Armageddon. They also announced Armageddon as a new war zone and stuff. So yeah, we're going to see. That's going to be interesting. But we shall move on. What's the weirdest thing that happened this month was GW did not have a actual pre-order release on a weekend on Sunday.
They even sent us the updated email with like a graphic of like nothing.
Yeah,
with just like a couple little nerdlings like doing nothing, and
it was
shocked. I even called my rep. I said, "Is this legit? Something going on?
Is it April Fool's again? What's going on?
Did something happen?
Yeah.
Is there some kind of event?"
I just think it's once again they're in. I would assume the tariffs, that whole what's happening now.
Maybe
here.
Spooked them a little bit. I don't know.
I just think they have weird. Someone be like, you know what? I don't want that getting released this week. I want this getting pushed forward, and it puts the lobies or the people under that chain of command go into panic mode, and they're trying to find what's going to be slotted in when, and it's also when their books close. Like, when Space Wolves are coming out, I guarantee you that's the beginning of their books opening for the year. That's going to be the big release. Or if Horus Heresy gets announced the next month, a new edition, like it's always at the beginning of their books is like the big announcements. And when you go back and look on their other years, that's when they do those things.
It just was weird to see because it doesn't happen. The only time it usually happens is around the holidays.
Yeah, towards the end of the year when it makes sense.
Right around Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
you'll start to see some slowdown, and then I know they shut down for almost a month come holiday.
Yeah,
but it still was very weird to see first quarter basically. All right, second quarter. It was second quarter.
Well, they do their releases on Fridays, right?
Yeah.
This was a month with 5 Fridays. That could be it too.
Maybe okay. There you go.
There you go. That's the curveball. Like
maybe that's what it was.
Maybe blew up their calendar. Like oh, what do we do? Just put an article.
Maybe they just wanted to give our wallets a rest.
I doubt that. I doubt that. They're a publicly traded company. They don't care about your wallet.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be hardcore to be like every release for every game you're on top. Like
I am hardcore. I'm a store, and I have to buy that stuff. Like people say they don't always buy this stuff. I still got to buy it.
Yeah, no, you have to put at least an order in, or at least put some of it on the shelf. I totally get it. But did we talk about the we had passed Age of Sigmar. Did we talk about the new Scourge of Gyron, the new thing they're doing with the?
Oh no, well that just actually broke today. So,
so that's brand new. I mean, this is once again molecules being agitated and causing friction. So the new GHB is coming out. If you're not familiar with what a GHB is, it's the General Handbook Compendium for the year. AOS does a yearly compendium of kind of like there's base AOS that comes with the core game, and then the General Handbook sets pretty much match play or like tournament play and kind of the rules for a year. They are coming out with a new GHB, which is going to have its own box set. It's going to be at the same time of the new Spearhead set coming out. And it has old new, so it looks like they're revamping how battle tactics work. They're going to revamp how manifestations work because there's some problems with some of them being very strong, some of them not. But what GW likes to do, it's kind of like an end of an edition thing. GW puts out an arc, usually at the end of an edition. Let's throw a bunch of wild new rules at you. So they're going to give us something called the Scourge of Gyron, which is the realm of life in the AOS Mortal Realms. And the story is getting going there. And they're going to give every faction is going to get a new way to play a bunch of war scrolls. Either it's going to have like a battle trait. It's almost like a little mini army of renown, but it really is not. Skaven just got released as when we're filming this, and they have
two new war scrolls.
New war scrolls, battle traits for those, and then but every faction is going to get it, and it is free. So it's one of those things that's going to, hey, I can go onto the website and maybe play this army in a different thematic way. It might not be the best match way to play and be competitive, but it's there, and it's something new, and it's something GW. What you felt it was us being play tested, though.
Yes, I do feel like it's a play test, but I'm okay with it because it's not a wholesale play test. It's like, here's a new unit or like a new look on a new unit. Just we're reducing the points or increasing the points and adding a new ability or taking away an ability. And I'm okay with that because in the end, I would rather, I mean, I know you want them to do play testing. Any company should be doing play testing, but the truth of it is,
how much can you get?
How much can you do? And then in the end, the player base seems to find ways to break things faster and more efficiently than the people that
Yeah, the
that created it.
abacus can be moved so many more ways than you can with a smaller, testing group. But yeah, I mean,
No plan survives an encounter with the enemy.
yeah, and
The players that want to break things and kick butt are the enemy in the sense because they're looking for the optimal way to use things. So
you want
let
it
us
to
play
work.
test it a little bit.
Yeah, and GW has been very much always, when Cellblade Grey Village book's coming out, that was written 3 years ago. So we're getting a book that's coming out 3 years that might not know what the meta is or how the game is being played now. So this is, and they've traditionally only ever changed their game by changing point values on units. So this gives them the ability to try a whole new war scroll without you having to buy a whole new book.
Or maybe like play test a war scroll like the Barrow Knights before they release them. So you don't have this.
They're there for you, Dan.
Bullshit knights.
Those are there for you. But I mean, new war scrolls that are also working in conjunction with the old war scrolls. So you're going to be able to play them multiple ways. They might not, you have to choose. They don't, but I mean, still, you're getting a whole new war scroll. Even the GHB, it's only a yearly purchase. Some people complain, I got to buy another whole GHB, but it is for the whole year. And honestly, there's new objectives. They're copying Spearhead, by the way. They're doing six objectives. 2 colors, 2 have the same color, 2 it's like 4 with the same colors, and then 2 odd colors. So they might change battle tactics, capture the 2 red objectives and stuff. And they also have mapping for the table. So like the missions are going to have terrain maps along with
The
where
placement of the objectives.
so that might be like to speed up gameplay or tournament play, however you're playing. So I just think it's good, and I think the fact that they're giving stuff new, and I'm excited to see what every Chaos faction gets and what everybody else gets. I'm curious to see what Soulblight gets because they're going to get something, and maybe they'll get something that helps Dan lose his temper even more.
Oh, nothing better than breaking some bones.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
But yeah, that's really the GW news. These are the things. I'm sure we missed some stuff, but these are, like I said, these are the molecule exciters, the agitators of my Chaos Soul.
And GW does stir the pot monthly, so that's pretty easy to recap.
But want to segue? Wait, we'll segue into card games. You want to do? Should we talk about FFG?
Well, we can talk about all the card games. What do you want to talk about FFG?
I was saying, Legends of the Force spoilers have been coming, and we're getting cards like Revan. If you haven't seen him, he's in all black.
Pretty cool, all black. At first, I was skeptical that he'd be playable. Like he seems really tough, but then they started releasing some more cards today and yesterday.
I saw someone make a deck. Every card was villainy, and it was the gray Naboo base.
Well, because they have more cards and more sets, so more to pull from.
And there's a lot of villainy cards by themselves.
I'm not gonna lie, I played an online game today, and I lost to it. Like it was really good. It was spicy.
Interesting.
Question real quick though. With this set, was this when rotation was going to start?
No. We have one more set after this. The Ultimate Power set is going to be the sixth and final set of the large block.
Okay. So when there's a full 6, 3 is going to drop, and then we'll start.
So when the seventh one comes, when the seventh one comes, 3 will drop, and then you'll be left with 4.
Okay, cool. Okay. But the spoilers are coming out, and there's a force system, right?
Yep.
So
what do you? I know we mentioned that he was just black. Do you think they would possibly put in a dual, a base with 2?
It's possible. I guess
he did a gray base.
I think it's a way of taking a very strong character and kind of bringing it down a little bit.
You're right.
Less options, right?
Yeah. I also think that it's like having an artifact of magic, right? Any deck can use it.
Mm-hmm.
So any villainy deck can use
him.
Revan or any of the other black cards that come out, just like any of the heroic cards that come out can be used.
That makes sense.
And you can still bring a color in by having a color aspect base and then throw in with him.
And then play it in Twin Suns. Play it in Twin Suns where you already have another character and your base, and then you can do so now you're talking about.
Yeah. It is weird though because in Twin Suns you're gimping yourself a whole access to because it is singleton. It's like you're cutting out a whole. You'll have 2 colors.
Yeah, well,
but it might work with the card when the card base gets big.
When the card pool gets bigger and bigger, you can start to play around with weird stuff like that.
His static ability is good enough.
Yeah,
and he might have supporting cards that make him super. But question is, so then we might get a pure heroism character. There hasn't been one spoiled as of yet when we're making this video, so it'd be really interesting to see.
I just found out that that set's going to be legal for Worlds.
They said it was going to be
legal for Worlds.
That's a news bomb right there. I didn't know that was happening.
I'm going to have none of these cards to go to Worlds with.
Oh man, that sucks.
Wow, that's not good.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be out for with the pre-release is going to be out for like 3 weeks or so.
You'll have.
I'll be in
some.
Japan. I'll be gone. I'll be gone.
You
the entire
let me
time.
know what you want, and we'll just bring them.
airdrop.
Bring it.
Swoo airdrop is got to be
Swoo
the
The
airdrop.
Las
coolest thing
Vegas
ever.
airdrop.
Yeah,
But yeah, so that's going to be legal. So that's going to be cool for Worlds to have such like all these new cards come out.
I
and
can't
just
believe they're making that legal for
thrown
Worlds.
into it.
I was actually shocked about that.
It's a
Right,
short
I've-
playtest period, but
Yeah.
people are going to grind it.
People are
so-
going to grind it. People are going to figure it out. They'll math it out, and we'll find out what the best one is after
Yeah.
that. I guess
They-
because that I believe it releases on the 11th, but I think we're going to pre-release it on probably the 6th.
Sixth, yeah.
They get the new convention exclusive box too. It was all
Which
the
looks
droids
awesome.
with they look. I mean, they're not my Sith, but at the same time, the artwork and the treatment on them, they look fantastic.
Yeah,
so.
I saw somebody online where talked to them and they looked like cereal boxes, and I was like, they do, and I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I'm
that-
all
yeah.
about it.
Uh-huh.
They're really cool looking.
Star Wars Wheatie box, right? Like damn it.
And the outer box looks cool. It kind of looks like R2 almost.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
got like blue and white. It looks like it's the same shape and form and size of the old Sith box from the 2024 convention. They've just made it blue and white, and now it's got a bunch of droids in
There's
it, and
a-
they do look cool.
There's a suitcase that looks exactly like that. It's got just like that very squared in based colors of R2's blues with the round circles and the shapes. The box looks really cool. So like once again, getting it's going to be a nightmare. They did announce San Diego Comic-Con. It will be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it said Worlds it'll be there. San Diego Comic Con will be there because that's happening like almost the same exact time. San Diego Comic Con actually starts a couple days earlier. I believe it's going to be at Gen Con. It's going to be at PAX Unplugged.
Yeah.
Probably
I
Eschen
think
Spiel.
that might. Oh yeah, definitely
If it's
Eschen Spiel, but that's
overseas, it's
overseas, so that's a little bit.
Which they
Actually,
get-
I'm reading show notes here in which we're chatting about this, and I just got an email from Asmodee
Oh, about
with
what?
with our confirmation for the numbers
Oh, nice.
for the new set.
Okay.
So
Very nice.
I won't tell you
anyone.
here. I won't disclose here, but I will definitely disclose in store very soon.
But yeah, I'm super
I
excited.
even got our carbonite numbers.
Oh, now we're
Oh.
talking.
And
Well,
they
just-
are
just remember,
higher.
You got
than-
about 4 less than you think you got.
They are higher, gentlemen.
Got a
Star Wars,
case-
you
got a
true
case left.
savages. The
Braden, this is for you.
Braden. They called us the Braden Advance. Just a couple extra because we got Braden in the store, who's a true savage indeed.
Savage.
So we're getting more at release than we got for the
Nice.
regular carbonite.
Very nice. But yeah, I'm super excited for it. I think it's gonna be a cool set, and I'm even more pumped for Ultimate Power
I think that's the set
because it's gonna be like. I'm hoping they don't drop the ball like they did with Twilight, because Twilight was very underpowered and it felt like a kind of a letdown from the first 2 sets. So the second set was a little bit of a power dump. This feels like it's a steady incline.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for power creep in the game, but I am looking for it to be. I would like to take a leader out of that set and be able to use it and make it. And I want Qui-Gon to be that guy.
Yeah. It's interesting to see too, because when it drops, what's going to be the power vacuum? Like
Yeah.
what's going to fill the current meta? Because like all those other cards are going away.
We saw a Qui-Gon unit, so we haven't seen leader, right?
No, we've seen
We
leader
thought that
because
was done
leader
leader?
is one of the hyperspace decks, one of
Okay.
the starter
I'll
decks.
just say he's the leader.
Yeah,
And
we'll
who
see.
else
It's
was it?
interesting.
Ben. We got the new Ben.
Well, yeah, Ben is a unit. And I think there's also a Ben card, a Ben,
The Ben leader.
heater.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan, yeah,
Obi-Wan
he's
leader
in the
is
Clone
Ben.
Wars.
Yeah, he gets
armor.
experience
Yes.
on attack. Is that what it was?
They have what's her name? Riva from Obi-Wan the show. She was the Sith. She's got
One of the
she's a red
Inquisitors.
leader, one of the Inquisitors. There's a few other ones. I'm
Darth
curious.
Maul is the other starter box.
Yes.
Yeah.
Twin blade Darth Maul.
So it's gonna be interesting. There's gonna be
Which there's a mat for, by the way.
Nice.
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 So what else we got in car? What else is what's on the docket?
All right,
for
so I
month?
like in sequential order. I guess we can go. MTG is definitely the next big release.
Good lord.
I don't know how much you're getting, but the Final Fantasy stuff is coming up next, really soon.
Well, I'm looking. Today is the 6th of May. We are officially 30 days away, a month away from pre-release at Red Seal for Final Fantasy. Close to 300 kits coming for pre-release. I got allocations from one of my distributors, and they were low as expected because it's a secondary distributor, not my main. I don't have the primary distribution numbers yet, so I'm hoping to have them within a week.
that's gonna be crazy. I feel like
After
that's
getting the allocations from the tertiary distributor, I'm a little concerned about the collector boosters, for sure. The play boosters seem okay, like as they're supposed to be, but the collector boosters seem low from the tertiary. From the primary, they should be high because our ordering history is good, but Rudy has already spoken, and he does have some insider access because he buys large quantities. He says the numbers are down. Don't expect them to be like a normal set. They will be down. But he also did say they're not Fallout down. I don't know if you remember when Fallout came, the collector booster count was terrible.
Yeah.
We normally get close to 100 collector booster boxes. We got 12
Yeesh.
of the Fallout.
I
And it was terrible.
think we've had this conversation privately, but I think it's when Magic is dealing with another IP. When Magic goes to who makes fantasy?
Square Enix.
So when they go to Square Enix and say, listen, we would like to put Cloud on a card. We would like to put your character that sells games for decades on a card. They have to have some sort of a guarantee that it's not going to sit on a shelf and be $3 at a Target in the clearance bin 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Like they have to give Square Enix some sort of confidence that it's going to happen. So what do you do with all of your IP games other than Lord of the Rings? You have to ratchet down that the print because you want to make sure they sell. You want to make sure that you can go to Square Enix and say, "Listen, we sold everything.
Yeah.
Would you like to do a second round of this?"
That guarantee number, you're hitting it, right?
And
Like,
that-
you kind of know.
And that has been the case. And as a store owner, I would say it's a good thing because collectors' items are supposed to be rare. That's hence the word collector.
And it's why pre-orders are so important. It's like when you put up the pre-order numbers, I know you haven't done it yet, but when you put them up, it's important that if it's something that you're interested in, you get in there and
Get in there and you got
Pay,
it. And
pay right away.
And I know, and unfortunately, it does drive up the price. It does. I get it. But it is a collector item. It's not a necessity. And the play boosters are around. They are a little bit above because they are Universes Beyond set. And when you pay for another IP, there is a cost to it. But the play boosters, I would say, are reasonable, especially compared to the nearly $500 MSRP price on a collector booster box. And secondary market is already at $700.
Yeah.
So and then with the news of the print run being probably just below normal, I wouldn't say short, but definitely below normal, that's just only going to make the prices worse.
Now, has there been any talk of any kind of like Lord of the Rings? They did the holiday box. Are there any talk about this being that one, or is it going to be Spider-Man?
The only thing they're doing is a couple weeks later, they're doing like the gift bundle, which will have a 1 or 2 collector boosters in it, and as well as the regular
and a themed box, obviously.
and some kind of promo.
I feel like Spider-Man's slotted for that to do those.
The regular bundle and
The
the holiday
holiday
bundle as
bundle,
well.
yeah.
It's
'Cause
there, we'll
that
see.
one's September, October.
Yes.
And then in between that, we have Edge of Eternities, which is their normal in-universe Magic
It's
release,
in
right?
universe,
norm.
but it's
It's sci-fi?
it's hard to say. I would say sci-fi.
So is it like an
Space
age
opera?
drift,
Yeah.
like where it's like we're in a realm, but it's race cars, like it's cowboy.
No, Chandra's NASCAR racing.
It's all the planes and what happens in between the planes.
Okay.
Like how to
Okay,
get
cool.
from one plane to another, stuff like that.
I know a lot of
So-
people complain that there's like not focus on actual, the Magic IP.
Well, how many times
Plane.
did you go to Dominaria?
I get you.
Yeah.
Well,
And there's so many realms that they
Well, it
probably
does-
feel like they've never gone back to, but maybe they just, I don't know,
I
just
think we talked about it in the past. Before Tarkir, which was an absolute bomb of a set. Everybody loved it. A big bomb, a good bomb. Can't keep it on the shelves. Wizards is currently out of Tarkir, which is only a month old.
That's a good problem for them
It's
to
a
have.
good problem for them to have, a good problem to tell their investors, whatever. It's a bad problem for a store owner that has people coming in every week that want to buy Tarkir. But, it'll build the hype up so when we do get a reprint of the play, but the collectors are gone. But before that, we were talking about Magic, and what you're referring to as the not being on theme was the hat sets that came out. It was your favorite guy, Jace, with a cowboy hat on. It was Jace with a detective hat on.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So it wasn't really hitting home. But the Tarkir set was absolutely it felt like an old school high
Traditional.
fantasy.
and it's dragons,
traditional
right?
Magic.
Like of all the realms, you're focusing on dragons,
When
which
in doubt-
could be more
when in doubt,
fantasy.
if you want to talk fantasy, you talk dragons.
go dragons first.
Right. So, and clans.
I think it makes sense for their perspective. Like, we are in the situation where when we're invested in a game, we buy every card for every release that comes out, but that's not every single card player.
No.
So like maybe there is a card player that really just wants to buy one set a year. They want to really focus on it. So like one of the other things on my list is Flesh and Blood. I haven't bought in mass Flesh and Blood in a long time because I only play the Ranger. Maybe there are people that want to play Magic where they're just going to wait for that one set a year that really sparks their fancy. Like Spider-Man, not for me. Final Fantasy, not for me. But Dragons of Tarkir, that's the one that I want to go all in on.
And it makes sense. Those are like Flesh and Blood because it's so focused on your hero, right? Like you could kind of pause and wait. I always feel like the commander players are like, there's I got to go get the commander card in that set. There's nothing to do with any of the format. So I understand they're trying to
And Commander absolutely drives the market.
yes.
So
So
And Commander is a casual format.
Yeah.
So I mean, like maybe the casual player is also somebody they have to cater to. They have to not bludgeon that person with 3 dragon sets in a row. Let's do 1 dragon set and then let's move away and do something else that other people like, and then we'll come back in a year to the thing that you like, which is another in-universe Magic set. Then we'll sprinkle some more nonsense in there, and
hence the change the standard being legal for 3 years.
Yeah,
because now if you are that guy, especially, you can go deep into that set. Like if you love Tarkir, you can go and buy cases of play boosters. You can buy cases of
use
collectors.
them for 3 years.
And you can use those cards for 3 years in Standard and use them for almost forever in Commander.
Yep.
So
before we leave Magic, I think I'd be remiss. I know Secret Layers aren't really something the store loves to talk about, but did you see the one they put out, the Ultimate Pencil?
Ultimate Pencil.
The Ultimate Pencil.
Okay.
It's this month's Secret Lair, and they're literally sending what looks like a Ticonderoga pencil with every order. And I think it literally says the Ultimate Pencil on it.
That's ultimate. Yeah, they call it.
Is it a physical pencil? Like
I'm pretty sure they're sending a physical pencil with
fair
your
enough.
with your Secret Lair envelope.
Ultimate Pencil Super Drop.
It's just kind of fun that they're doing that. There are some wacky arts in there, and there's some banned lands. Okay. So it's like every land where it's like this, like a gig setup, like it's in the forest, and there's like the veranda where the band is going to play. It's kind of fun.
Interesting.
The Secret Layers, they really take their artistic liberties.
Yeah, they're fun.
That's what they're there for, right? It's great.
Yep. And most of the time they are reprints of cards that are already in existence, so it's not that game breaking.
We already kind of broke it. Flesh and Blood has a big release coming out. Everybody's excited for High Seas. It's bringing pirates into the mix.
There's an undead pirate, right?
There's a necromancer.
Pirates are in this year.
Necromancer is something that they had teased in 2018. They put out this lore book with Flesh and Blood that only certain distributors got. And in that book had some of the different factions. It had, warrior, it had brute, it had this. It had ranger, which eventually would become one. It had an alchemist, and it had a necromancer. Neither of which had never been released or talked about. Mm-hmm. This one, they're finally bringing out the necromancer. He's basically the Davy Jones from the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely where the art's coming from.
And there's no other necromancer in the game. He'll be the first.
He'll be the first one, yeah. And they're really going to push towards it a little bit. The ranger's coming back, and she's gonna shoot this gigantic harpoon. She has you can actually get a golden harpoon as a card. Like
That's cool.
A rapid fire option and then like the hard hitting.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like I said, I haven't bought into Flesh and Blood in a long time because Azalea is my girl. But now that we're bringing back Ranger, I'm definitely gonna.
You're in.
Isn't there another pirate? Is she also a necromancer or is she something else?
No, she's a pirate. There's
what's her?
Now I'm dropping the ball here. There's a pirate ranger. There's a pirate necromancer. Okay. There might have been another one. It's a mechanologist.
Mechanologist, that's what she is.
Because she has the bird, and everybody thinks the bird is the actual mechanologist.
Yeah. So you're coming out of your proverbial treehouse, the depths of the forest, to come back into civilization.
Exactly.
To beat phase, but
to beat phase,
to try.
Yeah, that's the problem. Ranger's a tough one. Yeah. And then Flesh and Blood is also in July coming out with another armory deck. They're actually really, really popular. They sell really well, and it's if you're interested in getting into Flesh and Blood, but you see the price point of some of the cards, these armory decks are fantastic value. And you literally open the box and you can play a constructed CC right there.
It's like a competitive starter
deck, and they're coming out with an Ira one. And Ira was one of the very first Ninja cards. From the original 2018 set that they're going to put an Ira CC deck out there. Other card games, Lorcana has a brand new release that's coming out also on June 6th, the same day as Flesh and Blood. So that's going to be a big day in the store.
Double it up.
Big day for the store and a bad day for Dan's wallet.
My wallet is just like pulsing.
Capital gone.
So Reign of Jafar is coming out. So they did one of these last block where they had the last set was the Ursula's Final Stand. And they put out a co-op version where you could fight against Ursula. This one now, Jafar is the final boss.
Oh, please tell me it's going to turn to the giant snake. And
I haven't seen the cards yet, but
I'm sure.
So there's a whole set surrounding her, and then the gift bundle, the gift set that they always kind of rotate through. This one is actually another co-op version where you're playing against Jafar, and that's coming out June 6th. So that's good. And then, last but not least, our friend Wei came back from Japan. He brought a suitcase just to bring all of his Gundam stuff back.
Yeah, I'd love to know customs, like, or the X-ray as that thing went through. Like,
it's probably how many suitcases too? Did he say how many he had?
He didn't. I don't make this. It must have been pretty light though, because Gundam boxes are kind of light.
Yeah, and
they're still a little big though.
The card boxes when they go through the X-ray machine, though, what was in Italy? I had to pull, and they're like, "What?" Because it must
Definitely
look like
the- well,
a
he-
It's the
it looks like a
density.
brick.
He
Like
brought home the Gundam.
Yeah, Gundam
the
in-
Gundam special boxes, the white ones.
In Japanese.
Those things
In
were
Japanese.
those things were packed in there. I'm
Yeah.
sure
Yeah.
that looks like a brick of C4.
yeah, it looks like it looks
But
like
the Gundam card game is showing up supposedly on July 11th. So fingers crossed that
Oh,
it
really?
actually.
That's coming
That's
too.
that's when the starter sets start. That's when the starter sets are supposed to hit,
interesting.
and that's our card games for the next couple
And
months.
I
wanna-
don't even want to talk about it anymore because it's just crazy. What's going to happen?
They're with the
We're-
death rattle. They're with the so like everywhere. Dan's like stressing.
I'm
all out.
gonna take all my. I'm gonna be breaking bones.
Before we leave the card game though, I have a gripe because with all the I'm going back to Sue because it's my favorite. The idea that they have a hard time dealing with Lucasfilm to get okays, and they've just okayed how many new Legends characters like Revan,
Yes.
and there's so many properties on those cars that like. Don't get me wrong, making an X-Wing ship or making a ship or pushing through a miniature, I'm sure has a lot more hurdles. But when it's just okaying 9 times, like there's Kirax fighters on cards. I just saw it because it's an all black card it's an all villainy card. There's all those ships like, oh, we can't remake that because Lucasfilm won't let us, bring back those ships. There's Kimagolas on
In the cards,
cards.
right.
So like, just because someone can draw it and you could produce it faster, I know that's different, but then it can't be Lucasfilm. Like
so you're saying like X-Wings
just in
excuse?
all their other properties, like everything else, if you're saying that Lucasfilm's the problem in the end, like, oh, we couldn't do it because Lucasfilm said no, but then you're okaying it on a card image and it's getting pushed through and like that means it was okayed. Those cards were okayed when those games were in the death row. So like you're saying that it's getting stopped because once again, money and profit and how it's produced, I understand completely different. But that's proposing art and proposing the book, and it's like, hey, and then you propose this, and they're the same thing, and like one gets no, one gets yes.
I think Lucas is something that's definitely an obstacle, but I don't think it was the. I don't think
No,
it
it's
was the
something completely
obstacle.
different.
I
I
don't
think
think it was the obstacle that stopped it. I think it was just another.
I think that's the
another
excuse.
another excuse they threw on.
I think that's the
yeah.
excuse you get. It's easy to blame Lucasfilm because you never hear from them. Like they don't come out and say.
That's what you're paying for, right? I'm paying the license to allow me to scapegoat you.
Pretty much. So I mean, just I had to bring that up because, like, once again, Revan. How many people love Revan, and
Yeah.
they haven't even mentioned Old Republic at
At
all.
all. Uh-huh.
We're lucky we even get the remastered video game they've been talking about forever. So like, yeah. Anyway, there's
And
my,
then look
my
at the
gripe.
cartoons. I mean, the animation.
Grind Sal's gears.
Well, what
Agitate my
you want to
molecules.
vibrate Sal's molecules? How about what's her name? Your favorite oh my goodness, the
Mary
name
Jade?
escapes me.
Mary Jade never come back.
not Mary Jade. Not the Twilight. Oh my God, what's her name? I'm gonna say Hot. Sith.
Darth Talon.
I'll say Hot Sith.
Darth Talon.
There you go. I'll say
is-
Hot Sith. Boom, Darth
Yeah,
Talon.
she's gonna reappear in this new animated Maul series.
So
I mean,
if they were proving that, which was like on the verge of canon,
and that's Filoni.
Yeah.
Filoni worked with George Lucas at the end, like his version of the sequels was supposed to be Darth Maul coming back with his apprentice, which was a Twi'lek who has red skin, and she gets all the Sith tattoos. And I mean, I don't know if she's going to be that sexy this time around, but she's there. So like that's your
I
mind.
mean, I'm maybe I'm being a dude. She wasn't just a hot Sith; she was a kick-ass Sith.
Oh,
too.
she's badass.
She's a badass
I mean, and
kick-ass Sith.
just like as a
So,
visual
no,
presentation
but,
next to Maul.
But the way that they presented her was definitely because she's a Twi'lek.
yes,
And in Star Wars universe, the Twi'leks tend to be
sultry.
sultry,
Demure.
or even almost enslaved to be
I
that.
mean, they're not
you know?
used for. Yeah, they're. I mean, even the Clone Wars, they're always like under oppression and stuff.
Yeah.
So like, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's
So
my
it
gripe
was
with the
bound
cards.
to piss a Twi'lek off eventually.
I mean, she makes a great Sith. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's the least less like. I mean,
Yeah.
like, her and it's her, and then you get Darth Jar
If they
Jar.
were
Like
pro-
that's
my,
like you're
my
talking
point
out
is
there.
in agreement with yours that if they're willing to bring her back,
Yeah,
and that's something that was always like, oh, but they always portrayed it too provocatively, blah blah blah.
it makes me feel like there's already because once again, we always talk about Swu was made 3 years out, so they were working on Swu with Destiny's demise. Like Destiny was still being somewhat made. That means there's a whole crew working on Star Wars Unlimited. That means right now, or at the end of say Armada and X-Wing, that means they're working on the next game. If not them, another company. So like, we can't do anything with that because someone's already working on that. That's what and then there's no product available for sale at all. And
It's like
we were told it's all sold out at the thing, but then it's like, really? So like, you never know.
It's like everybody's working on the ships, like the Star Destroyers and the Super Star Destroyers, and then in the meantime, Krennic is over there doing what?
Yeah, well,
Looking for unlimited energy. That's what
Yeah,
it is.
it's
Don't worry
looking
about it.
for
It's just
unlimited
it's just an
energy.
unlimited energy
Yeah.
project.
You know
Don't
what?
worry.
They got-
I mean, not
this
to
is
do-
an Andor
right?
deep.
Not to. I don't want to spoil Andor. Wait, I'll give everybody 2 seconds. If you don't want to hear spoilers for
He-
Andor, 1, 2.
But he got to
too bad for
say,
you.
but Krennic got to say unlimited,
Unlimited
power. So
that meeting when they were planning on
so
how
good.
to take
no clue.
take the planet
yeah,
over.
propaganda.
Oh my goodness!
Make everybody hate the French. Like
Yeah,
it was like kind of like what they were doing.
unbelievable.
Like here's the spider. You don't like spiders? They're like, you know.
When they were showing that commercial about
So
the
good.
spiders at that meeting, I'm like, where is this going?
Dude, it's funny. The last page of this stream, I write everything down.
Yeah.
What is the last thing says? Andor chef's kiss.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
'Cause I was gonna say
Wow.
how much of a
right.
Andor chef kiss. But
All right.
Well,
So-
talk about Andor. They just put Andor and Krennic into Shatterpoint.
Oh,
Yeah,
there you
That's
go. So
brand new.
check-
That's from Asmodee. I haven't actually played them. I bought them, but I haven't built them yet. But I'm really the Krennic
Yes.
model looks so cool with the cloak on.
The cloak just makes
And
sense.
even though I'm an Imperial guy at heart, the Andor kit's kind of cool because this show has been
So-
awesome.
Oh yeah,
and it's Andor, Jyn Erso, and then two like kind of Pathfinder-esque.
Yeah, so it's definitely Rogue One
we
Andor
gonna-
and Rogue
Do we
One
have him on-
Krennic.
Do we have him on Mothma in Shadowpoint?
No.
No,
You
I
don't-
mean,
come on,
better
Disco.
be
Disco.
dancing.
I want Disco Droid with Mon Mothma and maybe.
if she's not dancing for an hour, Luke,
Yeah.
it's not happening. But yeah, the Krennic box. I was really interested in the Krennic. And if you're Shadowpoint fans, Krennic and so Krennic comes with 3 Death Troopers and 2 Short Troopers. So I asked our resident community lead, Mr. Katoff, what's the deal with that? And like, so one Death Trooper is the secondary, and then you could play either the other 2 Death Troopers as support or
Okay.
the Short Troopers, which is great because now like
Oh, okay, you got some
you-
flexibility.
Yeah, you get some
the
flexibility.
flexibility. And then there's another the Moff Gideon box has another Death Trooper. So like I wonder if there's like that. I mean, obviously when you start building your own strike teams, there's a lot of options there. But I like that it's a 5-man box that you could mix and match already inside.
I think they did that also with the Ghost Crew because there's actually 6
More.
models in there. If you have both boxes, you have 6 models. You got to pick and choose who's going to be your
Yeah.
leader, who's going to be your
Kinda cool.
secondary, etc.
Very cool.
Also, Asmodee, sticking Star Wars, sticking Asmodee, they announced the Mandalorian, the box. The board game is getting a second season. For those of you who don't know, the in store right now, Mandalorian Season 1 is a board game that's out, and the cool thing about the board is it's actually a flipping book. It's spiral bound, and as you do Chapter 1, where not to spoil anything, but Chapter 1, Mando finds Grogu. Once that chapter's over, you flip the page,
I
and
think
now
it's
you're
all
on
season 1 too of the Mandalorian.
and it goes
kinda
season
arc.
1 the entire way, and then you're on to the next mission. And you might have IG-11 with you, you might have Quill with you, you might just be the Mando, you might be Mando and somebody plays Grogu. It goes from 1 to 4 players, and you can play through the entire story of season 1. They're coming out with season 2. That's supposed to come out for Origins, I think, which is in June. If it's not Origins, it'll definitely be there for Gen Con in Indianapolis.
And a game like that must be so much easier to get to market because it doesn't have miniatures. So you're able to like think how long in between like when we used to play Imperial Assault in the old days, like in between expansions, because you got to get miniatures involved and you got to get. So it's like and you know what? You could probably just put miniatures in the place of those cardboard things if you really wanted to.
You could buy yourself a Shatterpoint box, build yourself a Mando and Grogu, and you can play that game with your miniatures.
Yeah.
Also, Asmodee Marvel Champions is coming out with Falcon and Winter Soldier for our more card game stuff, but that's going to be a cool one that's going to come out. And last but not least, I know you've been excited about this, the Battle of Hoth.
Yes, by Days of Wonder.
Days of Wonder, which is a subsidiary of Asmodee.
Yeah, that was interesting to see because that kind of they hinted at. They had teased some card backings. It was an Imperial and Rebel card backing. Everybody's like, "What is this?" Like,
When I first saw those card backings, I thought it was the old FFG living card game. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
But then on second glance, and somebody else had mentioned this that's smarter than me, they said that it was Memoir 44, and that makes perfect
that's the
sense.
core game, right? Like that's the
The
skin.
core game is Command and Colors. So this game has been around since the early 2000s, maybe even the late 90s. Honestly, they did Command and Colors Ancients, Command and Colors Napoleon, Command and Colors Samurai. But it was basically a way of taking a large-scale assault or a large-scale army and putting it onto a board game in a manageable time frame, manageable rule set.
They're hexagons, right? It's like a
They're
hexagon
hexagons.
grid.
And one of the more successful, maybe not the best one, but one of the more successful ones that had a lot of expansions was Memoir 44, and that was
World
Days
War
of
One.
Wonder.
World War I.
World War 1 or 2. I think it was 2
Two.
actually.
It was 2. And
But
well,
the
this
good-
plays similar. That's a win right there. And then you add the mini. I mean, the minis. What are some AT-ATs, some troopers,
Rebel troopers, the
Rebel
shield,
troopers.
the shield generator.
I think speeder, right? Snow
Snow speeders.
speeder squadrons.
Yeah, they're pretty much just saying you can recreate the Battle of Hoth and see if you can change the outcome.
Yeah, like kind of like the rebels are on a clock,
Yeah.
right? So like it's like how much can they stop with the Imperials and like
Is it like win it or is it like just reenact it and see if you can actually escape?
assuming
the
they
way
gotta
they did?
escape.
I think
like-
it's you start in a certain way and like you have multiple win conditions. I haven't seen the rulebook. I have no idea, but I would assume it's the rebels have to escape. The rebels have to hold off the Empire long enough to kind of get Leia on the Millennium Falcon and get them out of there. Imperials have to blow up the shield generator and storm the base as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
That'd be my guess.
They probably can't advance until the shields do go down to a certain point. Like there's probably a roadblock, and I mean, I'm excited for that because it's the first like board game with miniatures we've gotten since,
And it's the first board game for Star Wars we've gotten in a while.
since the Outer Rim expansion, and that's already how.
I guess the last boxed board game we got was probably the Deck Builder.
Oh,
Was
yeah.
the
well,
second
the
one. The
Mandalorian
second
game was
one.
more recent, right? Wasn't the Mandalorian the
That's
most
true. Yeah, the Mandalorian
true?
one.
But like anything within a physical miniature, like you have to go back to. I mean, because Outer Rim doesn't really have miniatures. You got to go back to Imperial Assault to actually have physical miniatures of Star Wars in a box offering. So that's kind of interesting.
And they call Imperial Assault what, a complete game? Is that what they say?
They're not making anything. But they're still selling it, but they're not making any more stuff for
which
it.
is another conspiracy, but I don't want to get into. But the
At least they're still selling it.
that's great, and you
Because
get
it is
And those
essentially
models are
it's-
great if you want to
and
play
it's a fun game,
the
so.
RPG.
that's those fit the RPG, and I bet you could even. I mean, I bet you some of those could even fit that Mandalorian game, certain troopers and stuff. One of the things though with the Battle of Hoth, which is because of all the expansions with Memoir 44, there was a rumor that like if this was a good selling item, that there could be other battles. You could have the Battle of Endor as a box. You could do the Battle of Geonosis, the Battle of Crate, and have different like if depending how well it sells, there's different kind of. That was all space. I mean, maybe you could. I
Honestly,
think
just
maybe
put
it could be a
hexagons,
spaceport.
right?
Yeah, I
We
mean,
could have a space battle.
capital ships.
Yeah, you got to blow up the Death Star.
You would think of like the iconic ground battles, like a bunch of Ewoks attacking a bunch of stormtroopers, speeder bikes.
Endor would be wild because you have both.
You have the bunker. You're trying to blow up the shield to bring down the shields, and then Geonosis with the droids in the or maybe we could do Gungans and droids too. The battle of
the Boombas.
Ericsson.
Bring in the Boombas.
Yeah. So yeah, it's cool. One of the board games we're excited for.
And then the last new thing I have here for the board and stuff is it's actually an RPG. I talked a few weeks ago about Free League and how like they're one of my favorite publishers. They're actually putting out an Indiana Jones-esque adventure pulp RPG, which I'm really excited for. It's called Outgunned Adventures. They had put it out before as like an imprint, one of their imprints, but now they're actually doing a full release behind it, a full core book, a DM screen, some adventures to go along with it. So I'm actually pretty stoked for that.
Very cool.
Who didn't want to be Indiana Jones when you were a kid?
I have a hat. I have a hat and a whip.
But yeah, that's kind of all that's coming down the pipe. All we have to do is hope that it gets here.
Oh, and why do we have to hope?
Well, there's just kind of just some weird stuff going on. Shipping can sometimes be weird, and then the weather can sometimes change, and then there's tariffs.
And
then there's tsunamis and
then there's tariffs,
alien invasions.
Well, the tariffs are seriously hamstringing the board game industry.
We don't like to talk about bad stuff or things that are not fun. This is too big not to talk about.
I heard a statement, we won't say who it's from because you'll know right away. It's like a borders that were drawn with a ruler.
Yeah.
It's like a weird, like who drew that?
Yeah.
We could change that.
We could change that.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, tariffs are the
elephant in the room right
is
now.
affecting the game industry, and everybody knows. Everybody's talking about it.
Not to go too crazy with this, but Asmodee, which is a gigantic company that we order from, or should say Dan orders from, Atomic Mass Games have delayed all of their June releases.
Yes.
So they had a Crisis Protocol model box that was supposed to come out. They had
2 Legion hero boxes. I think it's Mando and the Daimo Boba Fett and IG-88.
Delayed,
they
just
have
delayed in no time frame.
delayed indefinitely for right now, as far as we know. So that can be one of two things. That means that it was produced in China and it's sitting on the docks in China, or it has made its way across the boat and is now sitting in California.
Or got turned around.
Some companies are actually turning their things around. So OP, they used to be USAopoly. They make a couple of board games that we sell. They have actually turned 15 containers
Send it back
from California and sent it back across the ocean because the tariff was going to be so expensive they couldn't afford it. They would rather pay to freight it back to back to China.
So that means the fuel to send it back across the Pacific is cheaper than the tariff that has to be paid in America.
The time and the space on the ship and all this other, and probably storing it when it gets back to California.
I mean, they got they put it on the ship. They got to pay to take it off the ship because they're not paying for it. Interesting.
Yeah. What else? Stonemaier. They've made some really important games such as Scythe. If you've ever played that, they made. They are the ones that do Wingspan.
Wingspan.
Okay.
They do
Wingspan,
Fishspan, Wormspan. That's all Stonemaier. They're a really, really small company. They've only got like 8 or so real-time employees that work there. I think Stonemaier is actually suing the U.S. government
Yeah, I
over
heard
the
about that.
tariffs.
Them and a couple other companies are making like
That's an
that's like a
endeavor.
class action lawsuit.
And that's a
basically.
financial endeavor for a small company to make
Yeah.
claims.
That kind of tells you how big this is for them. Like this is make or break their business kind of
Well,
stuff.
a small business like that is, and that's their only model. They're getting completely devastated by this.
And then the last one I have written on here, this is by far not an extensive list. This is just the list that I found that I thought was the biggest for us. CMON, cool mini or not, has halted all production and development of all of their games, including the Kickstarters that they've already collected money for.
all their withstanding Kickstarters.
With
have
no
been-
messaging about whether they're giving that money back or not.
Nothing about
and
that.
As per
Considering Kickstarter rules, they don't.
they don't have to.
That's the risk you
Your
take.
Kickstarters are
Yeah.
it's a gamble on your part by funding because it might not go to fruition. So it is what it is. But I mean, all these companies have to be on. If they don't have the capital or they have the stockpile, I feel like a lot of this is going to come down to. I feel like if this goes on further, people are going to start. I mean, the idea of like I would do this. Like if it's on the shelf, I'm buying it because. The stock is on people's shelves. It's probably not in a distributor or it's not in a warehouse. So if someone has it in the store, I'm not trying to sound like a salesman or like I wanted to buy another
it's gonna
copy of
happen.
Waterdeep and they're not here.
Dude, it's toilet paper. It's
It's
like
pandemic
that.
level.
It's pandemic level
It can-
for a
it-
gamer.
It can become that. Right
Yeah.
now, it's kind of not there, but I think there's that. Like if this has a longevity to it,
I know customers were. I mean, who else was Ultra Pro?
Yeah.
Ultra Pro said the same thing about cost increases, flat out not getting some product line in. Going back to Asmodee GameGenic.
GameGenic's a huge one.
GameGenic's another huge one. All their, awesome boxes. We love the deck boxes. We love the sleeves, the mats, and so on.
they have a lot.
Fortunately, this last set of the Star Wars that's coming out now is here.
Yeah.
So it's gotten through everything already, so it's clear.
Interesting.
But going forward,
We don't know.
we don't know.
We don't.
And they also GameGenic also makes products for Magic the Gathering. Like
Yeah,
Commander
the
boxes.
Professor's deck box is
Professor's Deck box
a
is
GameGenic.
GameGenic, yeah. So there's a lot of problems going down the road when it comes to the board games. The 10% across the board on all the other countries, it doesn't seem to have affected anything currently.
No.
I haven't seen any price increases yet. I'm sure some of the smaller companies will probably up some prices.
It's probably going to be a warehousing issue. It's going to be a lot of scramble probably to get warehouses in places that are not tariffed as high and then say, oh, it's shipping from these locations and then pay the lower tariff. So it's like,
I think you'll also see that we start to find printers in other places. So I'm 95% sure of this statement that I'm going to make that Days of Wonder is printed in Europe. So I'm pretty sure like a game like Battle from Hoth is going to come from Europe, so it's going to get a 10% tariff as opposed to the whatever the China
what's the
tariff is
Czech
now.
board game company?
Czech Game Editions is another one. They're coming out with SETI and they're coming out with expansion for SETI and expansion for Galaxy Truckers. It's supposed to be a Gen Con, but once again, not coming from China, coming from the Czech Republic.
That also
Games Workshop. Games Workshop, we have 10%, but their paper media, their cards, their books, it's all China.
Yeah.
But
So-
But and here's the good thing about trading card games: a lot of them are printed locally.
Yeah.
So Pokemon has some printing locally. Magic prints locally.
Pokemon has their own and Card Monday, and Magic prints mostly locally. The one thing I am concerned about going down a little bit is the collector boxes are printed in Japan.
Okay, that's possible.
So that's
I think
once
right
again,
now it's
they're
10.
not on China
They're-
level.
no, I think it's only 10% right now for Japan.
With the Czech game company, but if they had their games made in China and then it's getting shipped to the Czech Republic in
That could be a
Eastern
problem.
Europe, but then they're shipping to us.
Yeah, I don't know.
So now, are we going to pay? Are they a 10% tariff company and they're only paying 10% to bring it here?
It might be the country of origin. Because on the packaging it has to say
Made in.
GW says designed in Britain, made in,
China,
or
yeah.
think your Apple products designed in Cupertino, made in China.
China,
I think they have to disclose where the parts are coming
Where it's
from,
coming from.
so it might still get that bump. I don't know. I'm not a
No,
The-
you got to be an
not a
economist.
lawyer, an
on
economist.
complete crack.
And then the elephant in the room is when I say he, I say our president
The big man.
decides kind of like out of nowhere to change things. So that
It's pressure.
That
so
pressure- that
this
pressure could
pressure is
be-
applied
yeah.
across everything.
Yeah.
So let's
Because
we
it-
got to wait and see. Like
yeah.
it's like
I tell people, don't panic. Just let it happen because you really have no control over it right now.
we don't.
And just be smart, be mindful, and just hope for the
Yeah,
best.
and I think that's one of the things that they're doing with like sending them back or pausing or CMON saying we're going to halt for a little while is just to wait it out and see, is it a 1 month problem? Is it a 2 month problem? Is
better
it a
to-
2 year
It
problem?
could end
And
companies. Like there's some companies that just might not survive that, and that's like that's like any
people with a high employee count are going to be in trouble. Like somebody like Stonemeyer that only has 8 employees. I mean, they might be able to suck it up for a month or two until it gets settled.
Depends how much-
if it's a month or two.
It depends how they're run. Like it depends how much capital they're able to hold on to. If they're a company that's paying ahead and it's they're waiting for the next sale and you have tight margins.
I imagine
they're
if
gone.
If
Like
you're not WotC, you have pretty tight margins in the board game sphere.
especially the board game sphere. Yeah.
it's tough. And so much of
I
the
mean,
board
can
games.
you imagine you one day you're designing and selling some of the coolest board games on the planet. Next minute you're driving Uber for 2 months
Yeah, it's
because
possible.
you just got to make ends meet while this craziness is going on.
Well, hopefully we're not
Hence
gonna-
why they're suing.
We won't dwell on tariffs because we know most of the internet has talked about it, and there's really we're not changing anything.
No.
Come on, Horace, make the landing. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that was on my list, and unfortunately it's another one of the kind of crummy things, is one of the main distributors in the United States, Alliance, went through a whole bunch of hubbub
Oh my goodness.
that was I thought worth talking about.
I guess we have to because it's another elephant in the room, and we know we talked about Alliance in the past because they had filed bankruptcy,
Mhm.
but now there's some new information coming out that during the sale of Alliance to this new Canadian company that was going to buy them in whole, that possibly some of the info wasn't fully disclosed, and that they had owed money to Wizards of the Coast, and it's an assumption being made because Wizards of the Coast recently has announced that they are removing Alliance distribution
No more
as
than
one of
distributor.
their distributors,
Which is gigantic.
is huge. The estimates are that 40% of all of the WotC product
Goes through them.
ships through Alliance. So
And that it was like 40% of their business.
40% of Wizards of the Coast business. So for them to just say, you know what, we're done with you, that's a big decision. That's not 10%. And somebody did
It's like it
something
hurts
bad,
both
whatever.
sides. In the
It
end,
hurts.
right? Like it's
it
not
definitely
like
hurts them.
I mean, 40% is not 10%. Like
Yeah.
you know,
40% is nearly half.
I also
So-
think we live in a world now where in the 1990s when Magic came out, it was impossible. You needed a distributor. The distributor was basically your Barker. I have this game that I'd like you to try to sell to all the game stores that you have a connection with, and that's kind of you needed the distributor. I don't think anybody needs nobody. There's not a single gamer that doesn't know what Magic the Gathering is.
I mean, WotC could sell that 40% direct if they really want to.
Well,
I mean,
that's the other.
Well, we
elephant
can
in the-
also hope that they sell it to him directly, or they could try to sell it themselves directly. It's tough. It's
the elephant in the room, and it's I guess as you could say, it's a little bit of fear in the back of my mind because there's no arguing that. I always tell everybody, Magic keeps the lights on, right? It's our biggest seller. It's our biggest source of income. It's why we have a full store every Friday night and a couple of the nights during the week. If Wizards decides to just sell directly, which I don't think they would do, because especially with the communications we're getting from them lately, we're getting interview sessions, we're getting reveal sessions that normally the distributors used to get, and now they're doing it at our level. Where in the past they would just have, the distributor would call me, "Oh, Dan, I was just at a meeting with WotC and I got all this new info that's coming out." Blah blah blah. We're getting some previews that they would get normally on their own. So I think they're starting to lay the groundwork to possibly just cut distributors out entirely. Alliance is not the first one to be dropped.
or just maybe focus on the distributors they still have.
You could,
Sure.
maybe they're just, this is think about it. It could be an excuse to just scale back and to start the process.
Sure.
Right. And this is not the first time this has happened. It happened to ACD in the past. ACD was another distributor that was selling Magic the Gathering, and they did something that WotC wasn't too happy with, and they cut them loose. And now we're looking at Southern Hobby, Peach State, GTS, and Magazine Exchange. I think are the only 4 distributors left for Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, good for them.
You
Yeah,
figure
if
if they get 10% each,
Even if they get
Yeah.
even if they get a chunk of that, it's still great for them.
They're gonna get some of it, right? I mean, the one thing I don't like is that there's a possibility that Amazon gets deeper into this, which I really don't like as a store owner.
I think anybody that's in the know understands the danger of doing that because you get those repacks and what about those Time Star boxes where every single pack was open and
it's like, resealed and
no, this
lest we forget the.
Well, this goes back to the episode we just had recently where we were talking to FaZe and we're selling the experience more than the product. The product is maybe what gets you in there, but what makes you stay is the experience. Amazon just wants the product. You don't get an experience with Amazon, right?
There ain't no free tables to play on Amazon.
Yeah, Jeff is not letting you come into the warehouse and setting up on tables. But
that'd be strange with all the robots. That'd be really weird.
Yeah. I don't know. There's some robots that come into our store already. But there's a little bit of fear of that with Amazon. But in general, I still think most people do prefer to come to a store. The problem is, how many stores are there in the country? How many LGSs are there? Whereas Amazon's in everybody's pocket. And if you don't have a store near you, you're
yeah.
So, and I think that's unfortunately probably the majority of the people that play Magic don't have an LGS near them. So that could be a problem.
Interesting.
So
I feel like
we'll see what happens.
Watsy's got that to deal with. We didn't even mention that, like, two of the head guys at D&D kind of left.
Oh, that's right. That's another Watsy problem.
So like. And we have, I mean,
Wait,
we
is this the Debbie Downer portion?
Well, it is. We're gonna bring it back up, but like,
goodness.
I don't have much to say about it because like I don't know why. It's just weird. Like when you look at it, like, hey, they're having 40% of their business go into Flux, and then you got like the other end. What are they? Probably two money guys. It's
D&D.
It's Magic, and then D&D, and then you get like they're saying this new edition 5.5 is a successful launch, but like we haven't. Those 3 books were like 9 months worth of getting 3 books. And like now it's kind of like quiet. Like when's the next new product? And then like the 2 faces of this launch and D&D for like all of 5th edition.
For 15 years now?
Yeah.
Almost,
so like, don't get me wrong. You want to go out on top. It's cool. But like, we don't even know who's taking over. And like, there's that weird quiet part of like a transition. And maybe tomorrow we'll find out something new. But
I do think that over the summer they usually do like they usually do like a big D&D like event where it's like a week long of streaming and these different actors come out and do this stuff. We might be leading
up to that.
We might be getting at that right around the corner. We just haven't heard it. So I'm hoping that there's positive news on the D&D front down the line.
I want my the guide to Faerun. I want the They had mentioned there was a Forgotten Realms book, and that's what
we didn't. I just realized we're maybe not saying their names on purpose, but the truth is it's Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins.
Yeah.
Have both left, have made the announcement they have left Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah. And every production video they've released through 5th of them talking about what they're introducing.
It's been the 2 of them. So this is
interesting, but like once again, it's we don't want to Debbie Downer this, but we're gonna go. The next thing we're gonna talk about, we're gonna uplift.
Are we?
Yeah. Horse is gonna get in his
I'm gonna uplift everybody but Dan
and get up and get back up to his command carry and get the hell out of here. So we talked about the month in news, and we wanted to talk about kind of just really quickly before we sign off. Chris, what have you been doing in your hobby this month? Like, what in this month? What's been on your docket or work table? Or
I'm always gravitating towards SWU. So I've made a couple new Twin Suns decks. I actually just played for the first time the Chancellor and Anakin together. Really strong deck, but puts a really big target on your back. So that's interesting.
And it's heroism, which I'm very upset about.
I'm upset about it, but I
but
know
it's the most villainy heroism deck of all time.
I'm not upset about
the
it.
sequel is they're both villains, so it's fine. We're good.
Chris has seen the light.
So I did that. That was a lot of fun building those decks. I love building Twin Suns decks because it's right now the card pool is a perfect size for it. 80 cards. Like, and it's kind of like I like that card. I like that card. I like that card. And once I have like 120 cards, I then go for my curve, eliminating the cards that I think are the worst in that slot, and then I'm done. And it's really cool to go through my binders and look. I like that card. Oh, I've seen so and so play this card. And it really killed me. Let's go into it. I built the Rattlebones. I built the.
I saw that. I witnessed it
Quicker than anyone we know or to own.
I
the
was
box
pissed for many reasons. One, because that's bullshit unit. 2, because he builds faster than I do, because he's younger than I am.
Yeah, so I built that.
I was amazed at how fast he was.
I built that entire box. I built 2 shatter points.
You built that at the store.
At the store, and like a regular Thursday night. I built that entire box and 2 shatter points and a partridge in a pear tree.
Faster than someone else I know that owns the Death Rattle box.
And is a self-proclaimed Soul Blight player.
Yeah.
Still hasn't probably even broken the
He's
seal
a
on it.
vampy guy. He's a moist undead guy. That's why.
That's right. He's a moist. You're a dry. You're a dry. He's a moist.
I am a dry.
Yeah.
Just recently, we actually got the chance to play with the community leaders. We played a little Waterdeep. You were there. You didn't play, however, but
oversaw.
We played Waterdeep, and Wei Lin ended up sneaking in the victory in
Straight out
in
of
Waterdeep.
Japan. Just shows
Yeah,
up.
got off the
Jet lag
airplane.
and all, and
But it was all
promptly
those,
kicks our asses.
all those guys that never played it, and you just saw them like, I like this game.
Yep.
Do you have it for sale?
Oh, my God.
No, but like, I really like this game. This was super fun. They all had super fun. So.
Well, that just goes, all that does is prove the point that we don't do this just to sell a game. Because if that was the case, we would have
not played.
we would have not played Waterdeep.
And it's pretty funny because like when that video shows up in the algorithm, we're talking about a game is how old, and like we're pumped for a game that's so old.
Yeah.
So,
So
like,
old, but that's how fun it is.
but that's a testament to a good game.
Of all, I mean, I expected most people to like it. I wasn't sure David, who is our kill team, he's more of a miniatures guy. He's not a big board game guy. But he was like loving it. He was having a blast.
He wants to get in front of his parents.
He said multiple times, I think my family would
My
like
family
this.
would like this, because it's complex enough to be interesting, but not,
but easy enough that
Yeah.
any non-gamer can still pick it up and can play it at its basic.
I even saw him reading the fluff on the cards.
And it's
in
just,
between, waiting for his turn.
and it's got like tactile, like you're not just moving like it's old. Like,
Yeah,
I
then,
got a rogue, and I got a it's fun.
And Ed showed up with his mask and his bag of coins that he kept trying to
he had the
flirt people on.
Good.
which are like 5 times the size of the
Yeah,
coins
seriously.
from the game.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I've been playing a lot of. I played in that May the 4th event for SWU. I built the decks. I built the Twin Suns decks. Built some Shatterpoint that I'll play against Katoff. I built some Rattlebones I'm going to destroy you with.
Destroy.
And that's
Well, before
heard
that,
we'll give you an update on that soon. I promise.
Well, before the Primarch takes the podium, I'll go over my month. My month is I just went crazy, basically. Like, I think I burned like 15 candles all at the same time. I'm just trying to get like 1,000 point AOS armies like done. So Beasts of Chaos. I went back to Maggot King because I'm like, all right, someone's gonna start playing, tin cans. I need a Mortal Wounds coming out. What else did I do? I started. Thank you to Mike Actual. I started sorting all my X-wing, putting them into
those binders,
into coin sleeves. So because they take up multiple plano boxes, and it's a lot taking up a space. And I'm like, oh, this will condense down into an OCD happiness moment for me to go into 3 binders. So I've been doing that. I built 2 new SWU decks, also Twin Suns. I did Piet and Thrawn, trying to get some big ships with a bunch of when defeated effects. Kind of fun. I had to whittle some things out. I'm building a Vader, the new Vader pilot, green and red Von Reg. You do a bunch of spam coming out, give him some, extra power. I'm building a SWU case. I'm building that special case. I built like a kind of like an old tactical black case, and I got a bunch of Gribblies, and I have some electronics involved. I was able with the good weather prime that, so that's all primed, and I just gotta get the wiring and some little painting done. What else am I doing? Started building Emperor's Children on top of playing. How many game systems am I building? I'm building them all at the same time. I have a secret old world army that I eventually came in from a third party, and I'm secretly building that. Which, shout out to that guy. I forgot the name of the store I bought it from on Etsy, but he literally gave me. He was late on his order, and I emailed him twice, and he said that, I'm going to take care of you. He gave me. I ordered X amount of miniatures. It came in the mail. He literally gave me 3 times the amount of miniatures for free because I was delayed. I was like, wow. I'll find the guy's name if you want to buy from him. He's in the UK, though. That's why it took forever.
Is that the guy you showed me that had the dwarf guys, too?
I don't...
Was that the same guy?
There's a lot of companies, a lot of these stores have multiple IPs that they're allowed to print, so he might have them, too. But, yeah, he was like, I'm sorry I'm late. I'm sorry they're late. And then when it came, I'm like, oh, my God. So, a lot of work to do. Aside from that, there's always something building. Andor, Chef's Kiss. That's all I got to say because that's, and I finished 2 AOS novels because I usually rotate my reading around what we're doing. So I had a lot of Star Wars novels I had done. But this month I finished Dark Oath. I don't know the author, but it's following Gunnar Brand is a newer Dark Oath character in Chaos. And it's really cool because you get to see how the Marauders live. It's not just like we're just like brainless, tribal guys sitting around, doing nothing. Like you see their the interactions they have, how they interact with the land, how they interact with the Empire, and they're dealing with the Skaven doom coming. and getting misplaced. Great book. And then I just read Lords of Pleasure, which is a Emperor's Children's book,
Hey,
which follows a warband.
This is supposed to be a kids show. What's the matter with you?
Lords of Pleasure, baby.
Lords of Pleasure.
That book was awesome, and it follows a small warband of Emperor's Children who have escaped Abaddon and now on their own. And it's like a mafia. Like watching those guys, like how does Chaos Space Marines do anything? They're the mafia. Like with them dealing with each other, they want to do stuff. And some guys do their own thing. Some other guys follow what they're told. And there's always that like bartering and fighting behind things. But it was a great book. So you'll see the pictures on, put them on the screen there. They were really good. So if you're interested in either one of those, great reads. But that's it. That was my month, basically.
My month started with a week of catching up with my anime. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, because the kids at the store, they're like, did you see? I'm like, all right. So I had to finish watching the final season of Attack on Titan because it had this like final. Invincible. I watched season 2 and season 3 in probably about a day and a half.
Bang, I got to watch the end of those. We
Oh
stopped.
my, amazing. I'm going to say is Battle Beast is the man.
I do hate when they take breaks like mid-season.
It does.
Like it's like I forget, and then I'm like,
yeah.
I gotta watch the other
I
episode.
I just wait for it to finish. The problem is I'm just dancing around spoilers the entire time.
Yeah, that's
But like I got all caught up with that. Then when the store is not keeping me busy because as we just discussed, the trying to figure out the budget for the next 3 months has been really just racking my brain about money coming in, money going out, how fast is it going to come in, is this going to sell? Final Fantasy is a whole new world.
knowing what's coming.
I have so many phone calls coming in and random emails, which is odd. Random emails to the store. Are you getting about Final Fantasy product from just Joe Johnson from Wisconsin, just sending me email. How much product are you going to get in? When are you going to have it? When are you taking pre-orders? How much are you charging? I'm like, and I if you know me, I don't like to take anybody's money until I know I'm going to have it. So I'm going over all that. I did just get the swoon numbers, as I said, as we're talking. So I'm actually, it seems like I'm always doing that. Someone told me once that when you open up a store that all you're going to be doing is doing the store. So even while I'm doing the podcast, I'm actually working. It's crazy. But other than that, on the hobby side of things, I've finally started organizing my SWU into the new binders that just came out.
Okay. I did that. That was.
I haven't. I'm behind. I'm always behind the curve with you guys when it comes to that.
Did you previously put them into a binder and take them out?
I had them in that large binder that we got from Amazon, so I had to take them out of that.
I had 3 of those.
Yeah,
I had to do.
I had 2 of them, and that's a process. Yep. And then, we're SWU players and we're OCD. So, and then you have the way you like to do it. You have the way you like to do it. I have the way I like to do it. And
one of them's right.
Yes. And the right guy always goes last. So that that's what's great about going last. So that's happening. When we went to Adepticon, I got the Old World bug, and I bought every Bretonnian miniature that currently.
A lot of poofy. They're not poofy, but
a lot of all the Bretonians that currently exist are now in my hobby room, and they are right next to the now mostly glued. Nearing 3,000 points of Stormcast Eternals.
Oh my God. Dwarves, back burner, baby.
They want to back. Why? Because the models are big and they're glorious.
Yeah, it's
chunky.
They are just glorious
they're the Ultramarines.
models.
There's so many of them.
Dude, I built Androster again. I have 2 Androsters. Why? Because I just haven't built it in a while. And I was like, you know what? I had an extra one. I'm like, I'm just going to build another one.
That's cool.
Right?
She's a pretty model.
Yeah. The new Liberators are awesome. The whole new box is amazing.
I got why they got rid of the other ones. Had that. I mean, people liked them, but they were like almost firstborn Space Marines in the stockiness.
Yeah, they had that like almost the.
I feel like the new ones are like lithe and.
Yep, they're fuller.
Yeah.
The torsos are bigger, so the minis are great. And coming from a colorblind person,
metal,
right? I'm even going to go with probably the silver scheme.
That's a cool one
to get away from the gold. So that's what's happening on the mini front. What else is going on? Oh, oddly enough, I shot a commercial in the store.
That's right.
Yeah, I shot it was odd. It was very odd. I mean, we're in front of the camera all the time. I'm in front of customers all the time. That's not the issue. But they came in with a camera crew. We set up in the back of the store, or we got in a little early, so there was really only like 1 or 2 people in the store. They slapped me in front of my pinball machine with my RSG logo in the back, and they just started grilling me. Honestly, I thought it was going to be like, push their product or whatever. It was more about the store and how we got into it. Why they basically the whole history of
Showing your point to this point of success, like
and then
what
they tied it directly into how. So it's one of the finance companies I use. I've been using them for 5 years, and we have an excellent relationship together. So they were like, "Hey, we want to get you in a commercial." I'm like, "Me in a commercial? Cool. All right, sure, whatever." So we, that was a little odd, but having to tell the story again, which I just love to do because it's still right, as Chris likes to say, living the dream. So we did that, and then other than that, it's been watching. I just got up on Andor last week.
Okay,
I got all caught up, so that was great.
Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss.
Indeed, Chef's kiss, amazing. I need a disco robot stat.
That thing's awesome.
I need that in the.
I want to go to Chandrillan wedding. I mean, like at that point.
Yeah, it was like a
3
3-day
days.
event.
Yeah,
it was
let's
a
do
3-day
it.
event, and
I'm
it was,
not going on the hike. That can go.
I mean, there was a little dogma with the whole ceremony, whatever.
Yep.
But the when they partied, though,
No,
I
that's
was
goddamn.
game on. When that droid came in, and I'm like, I need that for the store.
That thing would be awesome.
That's like a modern day disco ball.
I mean, it's the karaoke. It's a floating karaoke.
It's
karaoke.
karaoke DJ
It's a
disco
floating
ball.
Death Star.
Pretty
It's a
much.
floating Death Star.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
every
that's the
episode.
motif.
That's
So
the motif,
supposedly
yeah.
every episode
There's a
has a Death Star motif side, like in the was it in Gorman in the town square? There's that round building which is Death Star. There's someone's office.
The art piece in episode 6
Is
is
it?
Death Star.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it's the looming threat at the end of this, so it's really well done. Yeah, Chef's Kiss. They need 10 more seasons. Yeah.
So that's been my hobby. That's been my hobby for the
You
the
get
month.
6 more episodes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
And we
And
get
3 of them are tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, tonight.
Yeah.
You know what? So in that case, let's wrap it up so we can go home and watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're cutting it short, but Andor calls.
Yeah.
And don't cause. I'm hoping for maybe an extended, maybe wedding after party.
I feel like K2SO is coming very soon. So
Yes, I'm looking forward to that too. So I hope we got you caught up with some news. We'll get this. This will probably be a monthly thing, if not bi-weekly, depending on how important the news is. And next week we'll go back to some more shenanigans, probably some more board gaming and some more community leaders coming in soon, as we discussed during the Waterdeep game.
Yep.
So thanks for joining us, and as always, never stop gaming.
Good night.